everybody, my name is Jane. I'm from Chalk Mercantile and Surface Anthology. I have a really fun paint technique to show you guys today, and this is the finished look that you'll learn how to recreate or create, right? And if you look at these, you would think these were very, very old, right? Some kind of stone or plaster work, and they're actually plastic. So this was a wonderful, authentic paint finish. And if you stay tuned and watch the rest of this video, you're going to see exactly how I did this. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell, so that way every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll be notified and you can check it out. Thanks everybody for watching, and any questions, as I always say, please ask in the comments. All right, let's get this. It's either a hanging shelf, right, or it's a bookend. So I don't know, but let's get it painted. Now I'm using DIY clay-based paint in the color White Swan as my base. And the reason I'm using this as my base, and I'm not just going into it with Cracked Gesso and milk paint, is because it's the gesso, the milk paint are not going to stick to this, but they will stick to a clay or chalk based paint. So let's get it going. My brush is wet because I found this thing is so heavily textured that I was just having a hard time because the paint was so thick, you know, getting it into all the little nooks and crannies. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be a distressed finish, but I really want to get everything filled and covered. And I'm doing a lot of like pressing my brush down to get in there. And don't hesitate to get your smaller brushes if you're finding what you're using is just too large and you're getting frustrated. Grab an artist brush and just get it done. You know, don't feel like you have to use a brush like this. Frankly, it's anything to get this all covered. Got kind of a lot in there. We don't want this pooling. A stencil brush would probably work well. And when you're doing something like that, it's really like this, it's really important to move the piece around at all angles to make sure you didn't miss anything. All right, so that's how I paint the really textured area. Let me just show you quickly how I do the top. Top is flat, so we just paint. So you see what I'm doing here, right? Just nice long brush strokes. And then I want to make sure I don't have a bead. So I kind of drag my brush around so I don't get that bead. And that is it. So I am going to paint the rest of this off camera. I am only doing one coat, one nice coat, okay? And then I will let this dry and I will meet you back here for the cracked gesso. See? All right, my DIY paint is all dry. I almost forgot to start my camera. And now I'm using this as a base to kind of hold it up. It's hollow inside. But now I want to use the gesso. Now I have to tell you, the gesso now is much thicker because it's been sitting. So let your cracked gesso sit. Just be patient. Let it sit for like an hour. So you'll get this nice thickness. But I just brushed it on the top. And then I'm just going to go around and brush it on. And I'm doing this very gingerly because I don't want to reactivate, I already did this side, the DIY paint, right? I don't want to get it all wet and then have it start melting away. Now, when you're painting white on white, the gesso has a little bit of a pink hue, but that dries white. Stay organized so you don't keep going over the same spot and again, reactivate. And I'm just using a little 1-inch natural bristle brush. So as you see, I'm just going down the front and then I'll do the sides. Get underneath. And then the sides, I'm running low on cracked gesso. There's a lot in the brush. These brushes hold a lot. Okay, and then the other side. And if you miss any spots when this is dry, you can go back and apply a little bit more. All right, now put this on my little stage here, raise it up, and I am going to let this dry, and I'll see you back here for the next step. All right, here is our bookend shelf, right? We've got the first coat of White Swan DIY paint. I've got a coat of Amy Howard at Home Cracked Gesso, and I'm going to finish with some milk paint. This is Scandinavian Gray. This is Amy Howard at Home Toscana milk paint. And it's been sitting, as it should. So I'm just going to mix it up. It's very, very thin paint, just like that. And I mixed it pretty thin because that's what I want. Okay, then I'm gonna try, I've got my natural bristle, just one of her Amy Howard's brushes like this. I also have an old blush brush. Because sometimes I just need a big soft brush to get in to the little nooks and crannies. So I got that ready. All right. I'm just gonna do it down here. You wanna, as much as you can, work flat. You don't wanna work up like this and then brushing it because it's just all gonna fall. So I'm gonna show you how I do this. First one, let it kind of firm up. I might use the blow dryer on it. Then I'll do the same thing to this. Use the blow dryer on it to kind of firm it up. We don't want it to be running off. Every time you dip into the milk paint, you want to give it a little stir And then just start brushing that on. And I'm, same way I was painting with the white swan, I'm kind of pouncing it in there. But not too much because it'll start to activate everything underneath. Give it a little stir. And that's it. And now I'll probably hit this with a blow dryer just for a few seconds to get it to firm up, and then I'll do this side, hit it with a blow dryer, then the other side, then I'll meet you back here. Both of these pieces are done. They're completely dry. And I did a little bit of wet distressing on this one, so I'm going to show you how I did that. But I really have some beautiful texture here. Really just a lovely, authentic look to this. So the other thing I wanted to point out before I wet distress this piece to show you how I do it is when I painted this piece, there was a time space, right, between when I painted this piece and finished it and when I painted this piece. And they're ever so slightly different because of that. But I wanted to have one done to keep comparing. But you should do these types of pieces at the same time. That goes for furniture. Anything you're painting, literally anything that you're painting, and any painter will tell you this, whether they're a house painter or they're doing milk painting, you want to do everything at the same time. And the biggest reason is because the paint oxidizes. If I wait, if I have a can of paint and I painted an end table and then I wait 2 years to paint the other end table, paint and wax, it's going to look different because the first one had time to oxidize, okay? And the same goes with polys. Polys yellow. I just don't care what anybody tells you. They yellow. They're plastic. That's what they do. So, and everything else, it all just oxidizes, right? So you want to do them at the same time, okay? Now, for wet distressing, I have a piece of sea sponge here that I just ripped it because I'm running out of little tiny ones. I keep misplacing them. They last for years and years. And some water. You can see mine's a little dirty because I started wet distressing that. So you activate or soften your sea sponge by just throwing it in the water, squeezing it out, right? So this is just classic wet distressing. Let's get this one out of the way. And here we have this one. I can never have a big enough table for all my stuff. I don't know about you guys, but oof. Okay. So there it is, right? And all you do is think about where a piece will naturally get distressed, right? It should tell a story you're distressing. You're not going to just make leopard spots, you know? You ever see those pieces that you have these sanded spots in the middle of a draw? It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's not telling a story unless the story is, you know, your kid got a hold of a palm sander and sanded the middle of the draws. So you take your wet sea sponge, your damp, and it just starts to pull up that milk paint off of the Cracked Gesso and the DIY paint. And you see the paint coming off there. And I'm just doing a little because I think these look pretty darn distressed to me. And also the paint's chipping, which is fabulous. So just a little, that's all I want. I'll show you what that looks like. Put your sponge back in the water. You don't want to let that dry. And there it is. So I'm going to let that dry. And now I'm going to show you how to wax a piece, okay? So let's bring the finished one back over here. And the first thing I'm going to do, I have a natural bristle brush. This is actually what I'm going to use to wax. Get rid of any chipping paint. And if your paint is chipping so badly, you don't think it's ever going to stop, that's when I would grab the a matte sealer, a poly, because that stabilizes the whole thing. I really love Amy Howard's matte sealer. It's beautiful. You can't tell it's on there, but that looks good. I might get a little bit more chipping as I'm waxing. That's okay. So that's done. Grab a piece of cardboard, and I am actually going to use Amy Howard's light antique wax. It's not clear, it's not dark. There it is. And I'm not going to use any dark wax with this because I don't want to muddy this up. This is going to add a little bit of warmth, as you can see by the color. This is the one time I'm going to tell you to put your brush into the wax, right? Usually I tell you to scoop it out and put it on the cardboard. So you just take your brush, swish it around, and then you just offload like that. Find a place for your cardboard palette to get out of the way. And then you're just gonna feather. Now see how this is turning darker where the wax is going, right? Let me get the camera in closer here. And we'll go solo with this. Okay. And with this kind of wax, you just feather it on. And remember to be organized about it. Do one section at a time. You can tell what's been waxed because the paint is turning, it's getting darker, and it will go back to its natural color once it dries. Almost its natural color, because remember there's a little bit of color in this wax. So again, I'm going to put some more wax on my brush, offload so it's not globs, and then finish. All right, let's go around to the other side. Whoa! Like that. I need more wax. And then finally, the top. So you see that? See the difference, right? That's how you know you got wax on there. Okay. And then this is going to dry. Let me close my wax, bring myself back in here. Hello. So this is going to dry. Right, our two pieces. And this one is still wet. So every time you like wet the milk paint, it gets darker, you know, I'm reactivating it, then it will go back to this beautiful pale gray color. So I'm very, very happy with how this finish came out. I love these. They're amazing and totally different. Remember where we started. If you don't remember where we started, go back and look, because these are plastic molded, right? There's the plastic. They're either bookends or they are like wall sconces. I don't know. I think they could be used for either. But this is such a great way to give them a totally different look. They look like some kind of old plaster work, right? So give it a shot. If you have any questions about this, please ask down in the comments. I will list everything that I used for these. And remember to check out. I'll also be posting on social media. Make sure to follow me at Surface Anthology and also at Chalk Mercantile, so you can see the before and after. I hope to get those pictures, because I think it's really dramatic, and it's really, this was easy. This was an easy, quick paint finish. I think the longest part was waiting for it to dry. So yeah, if you're interested in going deeper into these authentic paint finishes, check out the Surface Anthology membership. That is my decorative and furniture painting membership, where we explore all things authentic paint, right? And authentic paint finishes, heirloom paint finishes, to me are the paint finishes that get more and more beautiful as they age, right? Why do people pay so much money for a painted piece that was done in the 1700s? Because it gets more and more gorgeous as it ages. So that's my thing. That's my wheelhouse. So check it out. Go to surfaceanthology.com and just click on the membership. I'll also list below where you could just check out my workshops, because I have a lot of workshops. Maybe if you're not ready for a membership but you want to take a workshop, absolutely, I have those too. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Happy painting. See you soon.